Good morning, everybody. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas. Interesting little story today. This is from a Facebook post from a couple days ago, and you can read it there. It says, I filed for divorce 5 days before I was shot with my phone lines cut on January 28, 2012. She is alleged to have been involved in the murder attempt. Okay, so today is January 26th, so you can see, how the timing is when I posted that, and what happened was, I recently made a video about this. On December 20th, she called the police to my house, and the police put me in the back of a police car with a bag of marijuana laying in the seat and said, we better not be called back over here again for this stuff. They were threatening to frame me for drugs is what they were doing. And that was the night that said, I want a divorce. So that was December 20th. And then here, this is in January the next month. When I filed for divorce, like 5 days before I was ambushed and shot with my phone lines cut. And she is alleged to be involved. Her former boyfriend said that he thinks she had a lot to do with it from the things she said. Okay, so anyways, here I'm going to show you here some of the comments here I put on here. Arthur Welch, the boyfriend of the ex-wife during the time I was shot with my phone lines cut, told me that this is what told me this. This is what was later read out in court. I'm going to show you. This is a print screen from what Arthur contacted me about 8 months after the murder attempt. Arthur says, do you think so-and-so, the ex-wife, had anything to do with the shooting? I dated her for a short time here in Lubbock, and she threatened to have me killed. And I said, I'm pretty sure she was in Lubbock at the time, etc., etc., etc. And I think God's her answer. And Arthur writes back and says, well, I think she had a lot to do with it from the things she said. I'm so never going to trust her again. And that was dated October 5th, 2012. Remember, I was ambushed and shot January 28th, 2012. That was read in court at the protective order hearing, and the judge just ignored it. Okay. 8 years later, Arthur posted this to his Facebook timeline. His story has never changed. Arthur said, he posted this on here, this was June 28, 2020. He said, cops were recorded hiding evidence and laughing about this man being shot. I was dating this guy's ex-wife when I overheard her talking, and from the things I heard, she had tried to have him killed for insurance money, and to hear how many police were involved. One, her longtime personal friend. I won't let Buddy Webb be laughed at. Her final words were to me, I will have you shot too. So 8 years later, he's posting the same thing, okay? And by this time, I'd found out that her lifelong best friend or lifelong friend was Detective Rosie Rodriguez, and that's a dirty cop that met me at the 7-Eleven, said she wasn't there. She tampered with the evidence, lied on the police report, perjured herself in court, all to cover up this premeditated home invasion, capital attempted murder that was going to make her friend rich, and that was the ex-wife. Evidence was found in 2019 showing that at least 5 Midland police, Davis, Dickey, Chatwell, Angel, and Hale, were under my home on the night that I was shot by somebody under my home. That's absolute, undeniable proof. That was found in 2019. That's just been ignored by the police, that police were involved in a premeditated capital attempted murder. They were under my house, and somebody under my home shot me. That's the facts, That's what's going on in Midland. And the question is how many other good citizens reported crime, and they're now dead? That's what we should be asking. We allowing these police to do this without any kind of repercussions is just absurd, is what it is, because it puts your family in danger. These are extremely corrupt police to the max. They're going after the good, hardworking Christian homeowners that are reporting crimes to them. 2 years later, I was found out that Detective Rosie Rodriguez, that was a dirty cop I was talking about, who had tampered with evidence, lied on police reports, and personally closed my case, calling me crazy because I said that people in the attic was a lifelong friend of the ex-wife. That came out in that protective order hearing where I said, that was read in court what the ex-boyfriend said and was just ignored. Basically, when the ex-wife, we separated, she took my life insurance books, showing her that if my murder was ruled an accident by her lifelong friend, then she'd get an extra $500,000. That's what it showed. And here in court, it come out in the court. I didn't know this until 2 years later. That she was lifelong friends with Rosie Rodriguez, that detective. They went to elementary school and junior high together. These two were working together, is what it was. By the grace of God, I survived the home invasion and premeditated murder attempt, but I was left crippled for life. My 28-year career was ended and my reputation smeared with lies. The crimes against me that I was reporting before I was shot are still going on. And actually, these crimes were being reported by the last guy that lived here before he died. These crimes have gone on for years, is what's happening. And I just want to show you that this right here is what happens when you report crime to the Midland police if you happen to survive. Okay? They destroyed my life, and I reported crime to Midland police. A friend of the ex-wife who was wanting me to sell my home and move due to the threats to my life said that she had told him, they're going to get you. They're going to get you sooner or later. You know, here's this guy named Justin Scott. Just move, man. See, he's trying to talk me into moving out, and that way it covers up all the murders and crimes here. You know, that's what they're trying to terrorize me into selling my home. That's a violation of the Hobbs Act. It's been, you know, that's happened hundreds of times. I say, he tells me, your ex-wife told me they're going to get you sooner or later, you know, and I'm sure they're still working on it. There ain't no doubt, you know. There ain't nothing stopped. Nothing's changed at all. Nothing at all has changed, you know, and you know, there's no reason to think these police are not still covering up murders, sneaking under homes, lying, stealing, and killing, raping, everything else that's going on around here in Midland. Would you have gotten any financial benefit from you being murdered? I think that was a good question. Jay Burson asked this question. Would the ex-wife made any money if you'd been murdered? And I said, yes, I estimated that she would have gotten around $650,000 in cash and assets if my murder had been ruled an accident by her lifelong friend, Detective Rosie Rodriguez, which was instead of getting nothing from a marriage that only lasted 3 months. The big prize was my paid-for home in the $1 million underground home in the backyard where they were having the oil show parties and where a young girl was murdered at in October 2010. And I put a link to a video, proof of underground homes and tunnels, that has the map picture. It has the recording from Sheriff candidate Joe Lozano. It has the recordings from the CAD programmer. Said she worked on this project. It was put in for the bushes with a cost on permit, budget on permit, $7.35 million, and all the other evidence. You know, Rhonda Denman Rogers says underground homes a half block away, and all them other proofs that are saying that these underground homes are here. Jay Burson says, holy crap, your story is very intriguing. I enjoy reading about it. Keep up the good work, you know. And it is incredible, you know. It's just blatant. Hey, we're going to kill you. We're going to take your insurance money, you know. We're going to take your house, you know. What'd you do? You reported crime to the police. You were the second guy. You know, I was just the next guy after the last guy. I believe they killed the guy that lived here before me. Thank you, Jay. She told me a few weeks before the murder attempt, the secret is that a group of doctors are killing people for profit. But she didn't tell me that her brother-in-law was a doctor, and come to find out he was my doctor on the night that I was shot. I've suspected that those doctors are connected with the underground homes, and they tried to turn me into profit. I testified to this in court, but it was ignored. And this is the transcript from the court, from the protective order hearing, where I testified to this under oath. I said, she said the secret is that a group of doctors are killing people for profit. Well, what she never said the entire time we was married, that her brother-in-law was a doctor, you know. And I found that out from her. Okay. And this guy comes in and goes, was there a hole in the floor from their shot? And I kind of like, where did that comment come from? Of course there was, you know. I said, absolute evidence shows that I was not shot with my gun. So obviously there was when I was shot. The ex-wife had already told me there was a trap door here, and multiple people are documented saying that tunnels and underground homes are here, including a recent candidate for Midland Sheriff. Based on old Google Maps, there's an underground home in my backyard. Do you know something about the multiple murders said to have happened at my home? Remember, Aaron Packold first said 4 murders had happened here. And I put this link to this video, this proof video, saying proof that I was not shot with my gun. And there's multiple proofs showing that I was not shot with my gun. And I think we can all agree, if I wasn't shot with my gun, then somebody broke into my home and shot me. That's capital attempted murder. That's what I've been saying. I'm home minding my own business. These killers loaded their guns and came to my home. That's a fact, you know. And they're using corrupt police to do that. He says, I do not know anything. Just curious because I've been reading and it come to mind. I said a local businessman, Aaron Packover, asked me if I knew the names of the 4 people been murdered. That's why I asked him if he knew names that knew nothing about the multiple murders in my house. Because this Packover asked me the names of the 4 people that been murdered, died in my house. And then I'll go on to say my friend told me about a young girl that was murdered at a 2010 oil show party, which I believe was held in underground homes. And she was afraid to report it and said high-level police were there. And I suspected the last owner of this home was murdered here the week before the 2008 oil show party started. That was Mike Lawhon. I suspect a lot of people were at or know about them infamous oil show parties, underground parties, and then they're covering it up. And that's a good question. Should they be held accountable and go to prison if they've been covering up the murders at my house? I think that's against the law, right? If they were here and there was a violent crime, they're required by law to report that. I actually asked Aaron Packover if he reported these murders that he told me about, because he's required by Texas law to report them. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.